So welcome to the first episode of the Unscriptd Podcast.
We made it here. It's been a long time coming, so we finally got our shit together.
That's right. So we're going to talk about, our journey, how we've got to where we are now, what it's like running a business as young 18-year-olds.
It's a bit about ourselves and the men behind the smoke and mirrors.
That's right. So
let's get into it.
Let's tell everyone who we are. So give us a bit of background on yourself, Sarge.
So my name's Riley Baharov and I'm one of the founders and directors of Linx Media. I'm 19 from the Gold Coast, but I'm not originally from here. I actually moved up to the Gold Coast a few years ago in pursuit of NRL. As a child, all I ever wanted to be was an NRL player. It's all I ever thought about 24/7, and that's what brought me up here. Went to Keebra Park and that's where I met you. A bit of an unlikely meeting, I came up here to play footy and you weren't in the footy program, you're a bit of an academic, so it was interesting how that happened, but it wouldn't change it for the world. It's the fucking best thing that's ever happened to us. We've got us to where we are now.
That's right. So I, the other half of Linx Media, Jai Organ, and back in school I was a bit of an academic and doing alright, and then decided to put my brain towards something that was going to get me to where I wanted to be, which is business, and I love it, and taking it all the way back to that first English class that we sat next to each other. And
our friendship started in the most legendary way. I remember we were sitting next to each other in class one day, and here's little Wallace, he whispered over my ear, he goes, "Hey Riley, are you a virgin?"
How every good friendship should start.
It started from there, and look at us now. Now we're out here, got our own podcast, running our own business.
That's right.
We do stuff that a lot of people, we spend more time together than married couples do, and
it's true.
We spend a lot of time together, and it's the best thing ever.
It's great.
It really is.
So let's take it back to the start. So we met in high school, and we started to develop a friendship through then, and I suppose we connected so well because we had the same vision, the same goals, and we both wanted the same things, and that's kind of how we started getting a lot closer. And all through school we spoke about it, and how we're already in this mindset of we need to be rich and we need to start a business and things. So that was kind of where it all started, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just the pursuit of more, and I guess wanting to conquer. And at the time, although it wasn't the same vision of the direct path we wanted to chase, back then, like I said previously, I was just fixated on being an NRL player. I just wanted to be an athlete. That's all I could ever think about. And I guess your vision was you wanted to be a rich, successful businessman. And the underlying values of success and just taking over and being the best at something, they aligned really well. And then as we went through the years and our visions started to align more to each other's, we both then started talking to each other about business, and I then started having a bit of a divided attention between I want to be an NRL player and I want to be a businessman, and then that completely aligned with what you wanted to do. And then also, besides the fact that we wanted to fucking conquer together, we also just wanted to do fucking absolutely everything else together. We would play golf, go to the gym, just do everything together.
No, it all worked out. It all worked out really well. So that was the start of it, and then basically, how long was it after school did we start? It was a few months. We had a few months of just working. I was doing a little bit of real estate after school. You were building boats and the typical grind. And
my first few months out of school is crazy, because considering how much time we spent with each other over the last 8 months since starting this, I pretty much wasn't seeing you in that period. As soon as I left school, I was doing a pre-season up at Ipswich Jets, and I was playing for them, so I'd have to go up to Ipswich 3 or 4 times a week, and I worked full-time building boats, and that was a 4 o'clock start every day. I'd get home from Ipswich at 9, 10 o'clock and just go 5 days a week. The weekend I would not do too much, just kind of relax, fucking regroup, and then go again. And it was just, I'm not complaining, because I like that kind of shit. I love the busy lifestyle. I love doing all that kind of shit. But I just didn't like how I was applying it to grow someone else's vision, and how my grinding was going to building someone else's company. I'm happy to be just as busy, if not more busy. I love that. But I want to be applying it to my own things.
Correct. And that's what we've done that, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
well, I suppose, all my background and before we started Linx Media was, straight out of school, we actually met this real estate agent who we met the most ridiculous way. I was getting my hair cut after work one day and he was in there walking around like he owned the joint and...
Wanky bloke.
Yeah. Reese Gordon, this is you, mate. And he gave me an opportunity to start working with him as basically a sales associate with just lots of cold calls and all that kind of stuff, which I really didn't know what we were going to do. So I was like, jumped on the opportunity straight away. I'm very grateful for that I did, because I've actually learnt a lot from real estate, like so many things, just being able to work without seeing immediate results, the delayed gratification, being able to handle with all the rejection from cold calls. Like I wouldn't take back the word. I loved it. And now we've built a strong relationship with Reese, and
Absolutely.
we're still very close to them. And
absolute legend. He's done a lot for us. Funny enough, he provided us with probably the most valuable insight that we project to everyone else now, and that's just start. I remember this is whilst we were still in school. It was funny because we were kind of just pretenders. We said, okay, we're so much further ahead of everyone. We would catch up at lunchtimes after school and we just sit down and talk about business and talk about making money. And we thought, look at us go. We're fucking ahead of everyone. We're on top of the world. We're having these conversations. We've got these dreams. We've got these visions. Like, fucking, we're incredible. But the truth was, it was all talk. And we never actually put any actionable steps to it. And then it was once we kind of left school that we're okay now. We don't have any excuse to not do anything. It's kind of time to do shit. And the big thing that Reese Gordo was saying, that just start something. And throughout high school, I'd been looking at a bit of website development and just a bit of rubbish here and there. And he was just like, fucking do it. And I was like, what do you mean? What kind of advice is that? And he's just start, just do it.
Yep.
And
I remember, okay, so now everyone's caught up and we'll talk about how Linx Media actually started. So I remember you called me one day and you said, we just need to do something. It doesn't matter what it is. And from that day, it was probably maybe a day or two later, we were at home on the couch watching YouTube, Eamon Garnsey, how to start a business, what business should you start. Had no fucking idea whatsoever. And I can't remember exactly what video it was, but it was basically like, you got to be the middleman between something.
I remember the video was titled, How to Make $10,000 a Month Online in 2024. And it's cliche. Everyone's fucking putting out those videos. And for the most part, a lot of the stuff that they're putting out is just trying to leverage fucking just different. I'm not going to mention the word because it's going to cause a lot of backlash. So I'll leave it out of this.
Yeah.
But the big thing, like you just briefly touched on, was being the middleman. And the business model that we first tried to apply was drop servicing. And essentially, drop servicing is just like drop shipping, where you source a product from somewhere externally, market it as your own, send to a customer. Drop servicing is where you market your service, you then go get someone else to complete the service, connect with the client, you pocket the difference.
Yeah.
And what our plan is we're going to start a website and development and SEO business. And we're going to reach out to businesses who either have A, no website, or B, a shitty website, and say, look, we can upgrade your website, do all this, promise them everything, and then once they agree, we go get someone from India, Pakistan, Zimbabwe, wherever they be. They build the website.
Yeah.
We charge these people 10 grand. We charge these blokes 5 grand. We pocket the 5 grand in the middle. And so that was
the original business plan. And did it work? No. But what did come from it was when we obviously started, our first client happened to be my auntie and uncle actually, and they reached out to us and they said, we want you to do our website and SEO because that's what we're doing at the time. And they also said, we also want you to do our videography and run our social media. We're like, oh, okay. This is outside our scope. But at the same time, we're not going to say no to a first client.
Oh, absolutely.
And we jumped on.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but something big that we learned from that point on that we've both touched on before is just getting a job done. And if you're presented with an opportunity, just fucking take it. And that's what we did. I remember we sat across. where was it? LaVintage? Is that
Yep.
where we had the first meeting? We sat across from them. They mentioned all these things. They want drone video, they want camera videography, they want reels, all this shit, social media management, and we're like,
Yeah, we'll do it.
and I remember in the car ride home, we were like, fuck yeah, we've got this sick opportunity. Now what the fuck do we do? We got no clue.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because we were just like, fuck it, we're gonna do it, and that we ran from there.
Correct. It was such a rough start. Like our first shoot with this client, they very grateful for them actually. They lent us their drone because they had one
camera,
and never got time
GoPros.
to use it. They lent us their drone and some GoPros to use, and then we actually had to borrow a camera from somebody else. And so everything was, none of the stuff we were using was ours. And it was just, we were just winging it. We had no idea what we were doing.
CapCut editing. It was,
Like you just didn't know how to
horrendous.
work a camera, just going there, pressing buttons.
Yep. It was,
And it's all evolved from there, really.
yeah, and to expand on that, we did that for not very long because at this point we were a registered business with an ABN, so we couldn't quite just do these shitty cash jobs. Like we kind of had to take it serious. We're like, okay, now we've got the job, let's fucking get good at it. So we went out and we bought our own camera. We went to
First invoice.
First invoice. We went straight to JB Hi-Fi. Spent $6,500 on a setup, camera, gimbal, 2 lenses, and we're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, we're on now.
We're on now. And I remember we turned the camera on, we're like, what is this? What are these settings? What's going on here?
There was a few hours of YouTube videos from there learning how to
Many hours
use
of
the
YouTube.
camera.
You know, YouTube is one of the great modern day teachers because there's just so much valuable shit on there.
Oh yeah.
Just like this podcast. This is going to go into YouTube and help tens of millions of young people who are trying to get off the ground. So thank
That's
you,
right.
YouTube, for providing a platform for such extensive knowledge.
That's right. That was probably, it was crazy because that was probably like our first big major purchase, like
Ever.
really.
Yeah, literally. Like we're both,
$6,000 on a camera. Holy shit!
like both our first cars were kind of hand-me-down, so it wasn't even like we'd done the big dog move on our first cars. Like this was our first big boy purchase.
Yeah. Oh, it was nuts.
Followed by the editing software, and that fucking hell, that wasn't too bad. It was only a one-off payment for high quality editing software, which we use now, and it's been very good for us. So we've learnt a lot, and we use now is about $500. So the initial setup, just for kind of everything with software subscriptions, camera equipment, all of this, the little kind of shit in the first few months was just about 10 grand.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It was a lot more than we had anticipated, but these are the things that you learn, and these are things that you'd never find out if you just tried to study the art of business, where opposed to going out and putting things into motion.
Oh, that's right. I think about it all the time. Like, there's people at uni who, and these are the people that work at JB Hi-Fi, that we show up and talk to them, and they know every single detail about videography and editing, and we're like, what are you talking about? Speak our language. And they've spent 4+ years at uni studying whatever we're doing, and we're out here learning it on the go. And like, by the time that 4 years is up, that we would have been at uni doing all this, we're just going to be so far ahead. Like, already we're so far ahead.
Correct, and like, I don't mean to be rude and hate on these kind of people, but
Correct, yeah.
the people who started their uni degrees for marketing and media versus us who started our business for marketing and media, at the end of that 4-year period, they're going to be working for us, making us money. And well, I've got nothing against those kind of people. I completely respect the people who've gone that way. It's just, I guess, a different pathway and different visions and different goals. So to those people, absolutely no hate. And yeah, everyone's path is different, I suppose.
But at the end of the day, you always learn by doing, right? Like, when you're a baby, you don't sit there with a baby and with a whiteboard and tell him how to walk and the mechanics of moving your legs.
No.
You get up and you fall over. You get up and you fall over.
Correct. Oh, there's been a lot of
That's-
falling over.
Correct. But no, it's good. It's good. So we got our first client. We got our own camera gear, and then I suppose we realized, holy shit, we need to learn how to take care of a client now. We need to.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So I suppose the things you can learn externally without trying or stepping into business is how to get clients, how to do all this stuff, whatever. But it's not until, it's like boxing, right? You can watch all of the fucking, you can study all the mechanics, study a fighter, do all this shit. And I think, who was it? It might have been Mike Tyson who said it's not until you get punched in the face that you really know how to react. And it's true, because it's not until you have your clients on board who then all of a sudden they've got needs. So we've got deadlines to meet. We do our job and then we send through for confirmation, no, change this, do that. And it's like, okay, but we've got to have it done by this date and this is coming up and you got to do that. And it's like, what's going on here? Yeah. It's really just, it's a matter of putting yourself in the deep end, and it teaches you how to swim, because if you put yourself into the shallow end, if you start to drown, you just can put your feet down, you can stand, you sweep. But if you're in the deep end, you can fucking learn how to swim, because otherwise you're fucking going to go under.
That's right. No, that's exactly right. You got to learn, like that, and that's just how it's gone, and it's great.
It has.
It was a while after that we started to make some progress, though. We were stuck on that level for a while.
Yep, and it come down to a range of different reasons. The first thing was purely, and I think this is quite a good thing that we realised early on, and I'm very glad we did, and that was that we want to get people on, but we want to get people on for a long time and have good relationships, because I think something that a lot of people don't understand is that there is value in providing value, and there's value in maintaining a healthy relationship. You can put as much out there as you want and try to get as many customers as you want and try to make as much money in a short period of time, but at the end of the day, the most valuable client and the most money you're ever going to make is from someone that you service well and someone you service for a long time.
I mean, there was a lot of good things that come from us realizing that we just needed to take a step back and actually figure out how to service a client properly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it gave us, not focusing on just clients. We're able to figure out how to provide the good service. We were able to build better systems and better structures. And actually, this is a good time to talk about Social Lab. Give Social Lab a big shout out, because when we started, we met them at a networking dinner, and for anybody that doesn't know, they are basically what we do, but on a much larger scale. They're the big dogs of the industry, and they
absolute legends too.
They gave us a great hand. We met them at the network dinner, and we caught up with them a couple of times afterwards, and they've just given us so much help. They've given us all this stuff that have given us such a big head start, and just in how to look at things and go about our processes, and they've been so much help.
Absolutely. And it comes down to the old saying that your network is your net worth, and I fucking love that shit.
It's so true.
Absolutely love it, because something that we've found as well is since we've left school, the people we kind of associate with and hang around with are more business orientated and usually older than us, and it's got nothing to say that we now fucking think we're top dogs and we're too good for our old friends, because don't get me wrong, I fucking love seeing the boys from school, and I love all the boys. I still feel at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what level of success we go to, everyone's human, and everyone, the real value in who you are and what you can offer is the connections you have with different people. And it's not about climbing to the highest peaks, because climbing alone doesn't achieve anything. I believe that if you can climb and you've got an army and you've got fucking community with you, that's the most important thing. So
absolutely,
your fucking network is incredible, and your network is more valuable than any money you could ever have, because as we've spoken about many times, money is just an amplifier, and what that means is you can have everything in the world, but if you've got no one to do it with, it doesn't matter. Whereas you could have nothing in the world, but if you've got people to do it with, that means everything. So the only thing money does, it just amplifies what you can do with those people. So you may be able to have fun with your friends when you're poor, but when you're rich, you can just have more fun with your friends. It's just
correct. Let's talk about networking a bit more, because we talk about it all the time and really cannot stress to anybody else the importance of it. And we had, in that stage where we weren't really focusing on getting more clients and all of that, we had a big focus on learning. We still do. That's what the whole point of this podcast is about learning, right? And
absolutely.
we are grateful, and we're lucky enough to have the opportunity to work and just have conversations with people that, like an old teacher from our school, Jackson Luke.
Absolute
We've been able to
Dog.
learn from, Reese and Social Lab, and just meet and conversate with all these people we've learnt so much already. And
Speak about the great Jackson Luke.
yep,
He's actually got his own podcast called
Playing the Game.
Playing the Game. It's on Spotify, I believe, on YouTube. I've only listened to it on Spotify. Great podcast. If you want to learn some other business insights, he works with athletes. He comes from an athletic background. He's an absolute fucking legend. Go check his shit out as well.
Absolutely. But just to sum it all up, like you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta have conversation. You gotta reach out to people, because the opportunities that come from networking is nuts.
Oh yeah.
Not only the opportunities, just the things that you learn to be able to do yourself. Like the help we got from Social Lab, and just the things we learned from talking to other people about, should we do this, should we do that? Because we had no idea, and you can't learn. You can't learn.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, you can't learn without learning from other people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I guess the best way to look at learning is just mimicking other people's good habits and good behaviors and adopting them as your own.
Yeah, 100%. And Linx Media itself, right? The whole point of starting Linx Media was to learn. Like we started Linx Media with the intention, or not the intention, but the expectation that it was going to fail. Like the worst case scenario was that Linx Media fails completely, we do something else, but we know how to start a business. That's
correct. And it's funny though. It's funny we say that, because that was the way we looked at it. But then now it's kind of a double-edged sword, because now I look at it in the sense of how could it fail, under the metric of it only fails if you give up, which is, it was more so when we mentioned that, it was just, there was no expectations of becoming millionaires. And I guess in the terms of failing, it would just be that it wouldn't make us rich. Yeah. And that's not a failure. It's like you said, it's fucking taught us everything. And I believe it will make us rich. And even if it's not directly from the business itself, it's from the lessons and the values we've taken on. So it's,
100%. So back to the story of Linx Media, I suppose. A bit of a turning point for us was when we had a client reach out to us, being a builder that come from the client that we had already been working with, my auntie's business, and they gave us a phone call and they said, "We love what you've done with these guys. We kind of want to work with you."
Don't forget the best part of the story, mate. Before this happened, so that was a big turning point in the sense of direction with clients, but there was a big turning point in the sense of actually knowing what we're doing. And it will take you back to that first few month period when we just had Wet Trade on, and we were trying to do everything.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
We were trying to do everything. And just to dive into it a little bit, this is something we haven't spoken about too often, or
at all.
Publicly at all.
This is not on the internet anymore.
No, and it will be, because I think it's fucking hilarious, and it's just a testament to young blokes having a crack, doing shit, learning, failing, whatever. So one of our good friends, Moby Adams, we were looking into a few ventures with him, and I remember there was one night I was actually driving down to Lennox to go see my family, and me and him started having a conversation about OnlyFans management. And I remember that night we pulled him onto a stint till like 3 o'clock in the morning, doing all this research, just having a look into it all. And I believe it was 7 days later, so at the time Moby was over in Italy, so he was just doing all the research, all the back end work. 7 days later, me and Wallace rock up, all suited up, sitting down across the table like this at a really fancy restaurant with a seasoned... You know what? She referred to herself as a tattooed porn star, and...
I do remember that very, very specifically. And we were two 18-year-olds dressed in suits, going to meet with OnlyFans models and people in the adult industry that were 20 plus years. They were double our age.
She had started in the adult industry in 2003. We were born in 2005.
There you go. That
We
puts
were
in
sitting
perspective.
across. I remember we had a contract drawn up. It had all of the legal things. Our name was Desire Productions.
Yep.
I had it all written up. It was all legit. Like, we fucking sat down. We explained to her how we're going to market her, how we're going to manage all of her content, how we're going to do all of this, all of that. And it was unbelievable because it was all on the fly. Like, we fucking had no idea. But
It was
something we pride ourselves on is being professionals and just getting the job done, no matter what.
100%. Like, we were, like you said, we were sitting across this lady who was 20 plus years older than us, who had been doing it for 20 plus years, and we were sitting there with 7 days of knowledge.
Yep,
so
7 days
nothing,
knowledge.
nothing, no idea what we were doing. We had a contract drafted up.
Scripts were on there was no script, sorry. It was
We had
all unscripted.
absolutely just winging the fuck out of this shit, and we got a few on actually.
I believe that first week we had 3 meetings. It was 2 back to back. It was that same day we had a meeting a few hours later in Surfers with another chick, and it was. I remember the reactions when we got there. We sat down and they're like, "Who the fuck are you guys?" So, yep, we're the guys who reached out with. Because the way it happened was we would reach out to them. I'm not going to mention how we'd find them, but we had our ways. We'd reach out to them, organise a meet, like a phone call. We'd speak to them over the phone, provide them our value, all that kind of stuff. Organise a meeting, and then that's what took us to the meetings. And I remember we sat down. They're like, "How old are you guys?"
Yep.
And we had to be transparent. We can't just tell lies in this because it's a real business. So. Yeah, we're 18, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, what's going on here?" And we sweet talked them pretty good, I think.
But for anybody that we might have told, it wasn't a rumor; it was a real thing. We were OnlyFans managers for a short period of time.
A very short period of time, purely because we did realize that we couldn't have our eggs in 2 different baskets.
And 3 different baskets. We were actually before we talk about this. Is with Moby Adams again. We were looking to start a CRM software business, which actually was I've had great prospects for. I thought it was going to be really good, but it was after that and trying all these things, we then realised that you can't do everything at once.
Correct, and the first principle is you've got to start, and then the second principle is you've got to stick at it. And
Correct.
we started a lot, and we started again. We love starting. We pride ourselves. Like, we can fucking start anything, whenever we want, however we want. But it was a bit of immaturity, just not knowing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we still are very immature for the business realm. Like, we're going up against seasoned people who've been in the industry for fucking 50 years. And to be honest, it's fantastic because it opens us up for a lot of mistakes, which means a lot of lessons, and a lot of lessons provides more value for us and what we can portray to the different audiences and our clients. And so we were at the crossroads of Linx Media wasn't. I feel that we were kind of just because we were diversifying our time across so many different things. We weren't paying the necessary time to growing Linx Media. Like, we were maintaining. We had our one client. We were servicing them really well. They were happy. Things were going good. We'd make cold calls, try and get clients here and there. We'd do a little bit, and then we'd go and do this OnlyFans stuff, and then we'd look into this CRM stuff, make cold calls here, put together sales pitches, design infographics, set up Instagram accounts, all this shit. And we're like, fuck, we're just not growing in any way. Like, in our heads, we can see a path straight to the moon, but in reality, we haven't even taken, let alone being on a rocket, we're not even walking. We're just watching.
Walking in circles.
We're on a treadmill trying to get to the moon, and it was just, okay, enough of this shit. Linx Media is what we started, what we've put all of our time into in the beginning. Fuck these other things off. Let's just go all in.
Yeah, and that's what we did, and we've seen the results now.
Oh yeah.
Now over the last few months, which it was quite a while before we got our next client actually, and then we got a builder reach out to us, and they said, we love your stuff and we want to do some work, and we started work with them, and it's been great, and we've kind of just got a few more clients from there, and over the last month we've started looking into other realms, which we'll talk about in another another podcast.
Another podcast. We'll save some information and get the audience back.
But no, it's been good. Since we started focusing on Linx Media and zero in, we've definitely seen the results come.
Oh, absolutely. And it comes down to a few different things with that, right? So number one is when you focus on something, it's like when you think about it like this. If you're driving home and you get to your destination or wherever you're going and someone says, how many red cars did you see? You got no idea. Whereas if at the start of the drive, your objective is to see as many red cars as you can, by the time you get to your destination, if you don't know the exact amount, you know a lot more than what you did before. And same thing goes into when we went all in on Linx Media. That's when we started to realise all of the flaws we had, all of the good things that we had, just everything, all the small things that now that we're focusing in on it and it was our goal to improve and adapt, we were able to make the necessary changes in servicing our clients better, but then also being able to go and get more clients. So a big thing was learning very thoroughly of what we actually do. And that sounds stupid, right? You'd think we know what we do. And of course we know what we do, but this is the biggest thing in business. From my personal opinion, I think a lot of people would agree, but I think the number one foundation of having a successful business in any field, it doesn't matter what it is being able to project your value. And I think that's more important than having value, because the best businesses market their products the best.
Yeah.
Opposed to a business with the best product, they can't market it. Perfect example, Macca's. Macca's food is rubbish. It's so shithouse. And they're the biggest one of the biggest companies in the world. Everyone goes there because their marketing is just elite. And there are so many restaurants on the Gold Coast, everywhere else, got so much better food, everything's so much better quality, the customer service, all of that. But they will never compete with Macca's because they can't market it properly and they can't project their value. And that was something that we had to learn. And through doing cold calls and meeting with people and then just really breaking down what we did, we were able to kind of develop that understanding and really be able to transfer that into telling people and then having other people understand our value.
Yeah. How good is it? Just how good is having it our own business? As young people.
Before I even go into that, every time you speak, I can't stop smiling. It's just I'm just so happy to be here. This is the best thing ever. I fucking love it.
Absolutely. It's being young and doing it is so good. Like we now, and we've spoken about this before, we don't mean to fucking act like our shit doesn't stink and we're the best ever, but we no longer like compare ourselves to other people our age. Our competition now and the people that we are associating with are 40-year-old businessmen and people that are doing so much better, and it's good.
Absolutely.
And we speak to these people and we're learning from these people, and it's just so good. I just love it. We walk into a meeting and we're two young, good-looking blokes dressed in suits, and these guys like, oh, look out. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
And it's so good. It's been recognised, which makes it even better as well. People will tell us like, for your age, it's nuts. The fact that we're in meetings with these people is good enough in itself, let alone working with them.
I think another big thing is just having experiences, right? So success comes and goes, and success is something that is not, no one, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word, but no one is entitled to success. And what that means is you can show up and do all the right things and do everything you're supposed to, and it doesn't mean you're going to be successful, but it means you're going to have the experiences. And what I'm trying to get at is we're definitely on the path to being successful, and to a lot of people around us, family, friends that we used to go to school with, people that I know, reach out all the time when I see them, like, fuck, you guys are doing so good. And like, it's true, like we are, like, but it's the experiences, because this goes back to, I guess, the uni principle. Even if we weren't learning anything, which isn't true, that would never happen, but just think about, like, even if we weren't to learn anything and these people at uni were still learning things, we have the experiences, and it's like you just said, being young businessmen going to meetings with these people, like, that's only a once in a lifetime thing. Like, you can't be young in
18 again.
Yeah, you can't be 18 in 10 years and going like you. That's why it would just have such an edge, because we're having these experiences now, and this is something that does last forever. Like, this is something that we are entitled to because we're doing it, and everything that you put yourself in the right opportunity to receive, you're entitled to. It's luck is when opportunity meets preparation. That's exactly how everything that's happened to us so far has played out.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's just so good. Like you said, it just makes you smile.
I love it.
So good. I don't know. I'm lost for words. Trying to say things I don't even know what to talk about. But our whole point of starting Linx Media was to learn, and the whole point of this podcast is to learn, right? And we want to share the lessons and the stories that we've experienced, and in the future we are planning to get some other businessmen and people that we have been working with, entrepreneurs, just friends of ours that do know a lot more than we do, and can teach us a few things. Hopefully can teach the probably 3 people that listen to this podcast a few things.
Thanks, Tony.
Probably Moby, the other person.
Thanks, Moby.
Yep. And us too.
And us too, that's 4.
Oh wow, we're killing it.
Fuck yeah.
We're killing it. But no, the whole point of the podcast is just to learn.
And it's
share our lessons.
It's to learn and share our lessons, and I think it's just the absolute biggest message that we're about, and what we want to push to people is, there's 2. The first one is authenticity, and the second one is living your own life to the fullest. And I know that's very similar to authenticity, but what I'm getting at is, when it's broken down, authenticity is who you are. It's not about doing what other businesses, what other people are doing. It's putting out your personality, your values, your beliefs. And that's what we want to do, because I was actually listening to an Alex Hormozy podcast, and he referenced this situation where an artist, so just say fucking Tony paints, it's an artist, painter, whatever.
Painter's usually an artist.
Paintists. So whenever a paintist paints a project for an audience, so say the audience is of 1,000 people, there are so many different things that each person in that audience likes, right? So this artist is trying to make something for everyone. So they make one thing that's made up of all these little different things, when it probably no one probably likes what that is, because it's a mix of what everyone wants. Where if the artist is to paint a picture for themselves and something that they like, and then give it to their audience, there is so many people who also like what they like. So instead of trying to make something for everyone else and actually put it out to no one, if you make stuff and you produce stuff that aligns with you and what you want, and just you in general, I can't stress enough, it's you. That's what authenticity is. If you put that out, there are people who love that shit and people who align with it. And bigger than that, even if no one watches, at the end of the day, why the fuck would you want to put out content that you don't like? Yeah. Because if you put it out and no one's watching it, and you don't even like it, what are you doing? Yeah.
Well, that's the value in what we're trying to do, right? Is we're not sharing everything that you learn as a multimillionaire. Correct. We're learning the real lessons and the shit that we're going through, and everything that we experience as broke teenagers who started a business straight out of school, all the way through that journey to eventually being multimillionaires.
Correct. And I genuinely mean this. I want to show everyone the ins and outs of what it actually is, because right now we're not, like you just said, we are broke teenagers who essentially in the bigger picture know nothing, yet we know so much more and we're so much richer than we were 8 months ago.
Oh yeah.
It's incredible that I just go back to what I said before. I fucking love it. It just
it's so good. And yeah, being authentic is, what we're aiming to do, and one of the big values that you'll hear us talking about heaps. And
yeah, absolutely. And then to go on for that second one that I brought up about living your life to your fullest and being in control of your own life is probably a better way to put it. And what that looks like is not being afraid of rejection and not living your life within other people's expectations. And something I'm actually doing at the moment is the 100 Days of Rejection. And the reason I'm doing that is because I heard it on Alex Hormozy and Chris Williamson podcast, and they were speaking about this principle of the 100 Days of Rejection. And what it does is, number one, if you get rejected enough times, you become sensitized to it, and it just becomes another fucking like a habit. It's like caffeine. When you first start taking pre-workout, shit's got you bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
Where over a long enough period of time, people start having to take 3, 4, 5, 6 scoops of it because they're so used to it and they've built up a tolerance. And it's the same principle that if you want to go and talk to a really hot girl but you don't know how to do it and you're scared of her saying no or ew or whatever it is, go and do it. Go and get rejected. Go and get that fucking horrible answer. Go get embarrassed. Go and do it, because once it keeps happening over and over again, 2 things is going to happen. Number one, you're not going to care anymore. And not caring about an outcome when doing something allows you to be more confident and more free with something. It allows you not to overthink and worry about what's going to happen. And that allows you to be yourself. You're not trying to, I guess, be someone different to garner a different response from someone. And then the second thing is that repetition builds confidence.
Yep.
If you do something 1,000 times, you build a sufficient expertise in that field or whatever it is. Like, you learn how to do it and you make mistakes, you fucking get better at it. And that's what builds confidence.
Well, and going back to that with rejection, it applies, well, the concept applies to everything, right? If you don't put yourself in positions to get rejected, how do you ever expect to get any yeses? You got to get no's to get yeses.
Correct.
And transferring to anything, if you're in the gym, you've got to fail the PB to get the PB. You've got to do the reps. You've got to ask people the question. You've got to cold call so many times and get so many no's before you get a yes and make some money. You got to try these things, fail / get rejected to actually get yeses. Every no is closer to a yes.
Correct. And then also with like not living your life within other people's expectations, some of the content that we're putting out at the moment, I fucking know people are just laughing at, like, who are these idiots?
Yep.
And perfect example, over the last month, I've had over 200 sends on my Instagram reels. Who the fuck is sending my shit? Who's sending it?
Well, it was me. I sent it 600 times.
I know you're my biggest hater, but like, I know a lot of it, I hope, it might not be. I think some people would be like, look, this mad dog.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people are like, what the fuck is this? Like, you're an idiot,
You're
mate.
spastic.
And like, you read through some of the comments like on TikTok and shit, like, of these rejection videos, like, oh, I had one the other day. Hard watch, mate. Thanks for ruining my day. If that ruined your day, I'm very sorry, because
Brutal.
It's not my content, it's you that's got the problem. And like we said before, we fucking love it. I love putting this shit out there. And the biggest and the best thing is, one of my most avid followers is my nan. My nan comments on all my posts. She loves my rejection videos. And at the end of the day, every time I get her comments on my posts, that makes me happy enough to go out and want to do it another 10 times.
Yeah.
And also just the fact of I'm showing that, and what we're showing is that to be a man, it's not about doing everything the easy way and doing things when it's in your favor. It's about opening yourself up to be vulnerable. And I'm not saying that you should be a vulnerable man, meaning you shouldn't accept hardships and all of these negative things for what they are and absorb it and output negative energy and all that kind of stuff. What I mean is, you need to put yourself in situations of vulnerability, meaning you have your walls down where you can get shot at, and the idea is you need to absorb the fucking hits and keep going, motherfucker.
Yeah. No, it's great. Great advice. So, we're heading towards the end of the first podcast.
I could keep talking forever, I think.
I know. That's why we need to wrap it up. Otherwise, we'll have no more content to put out.
Honestly, we'll talk forever.
In future episodes, we are going to have some guests on, which we're very excited about.
Absolutely.
And
Well,
we're
we'll have
also
5 viewers.
Yep.
Not 4.
yes, we're going to speak about more of the things we're doing, some of the plans that we've got for Linx Media.
Yep.
We're going to tell you guys about what we've done over the last month. That's been very exciting and has been very exciting for us. And what else? Just continue sharing our story.
More of what's going on at the moment, I suppose.
right.
Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing. The name Unscripted, meaning it's all just on the fly. It's all shit we're learning. It's all things that's happening. So nothing is planned. Whatever happens, happens. It's going to be good shit because we're putting ourselves in the opportunities to tell good stories. We're not doing stuff that's we have to look for content ideas and all that kind of shit. It pops up, it happens, we get new experiences, we tell the stories, people love it.
Yep.
We love it.
But if anybody else is watching and does like it, let us know. Please give us a message or
Love, hate,
Yep.
whatever it is.
But send it, reach out to us, ask us any questions, tell us we're dickheads. We love it. We just, we're glad to be putting out content, and we hope there are a small amount of people that do enjoy it. And we'd love to hear that if there is any people. But other than that, obviously,
Thanks for watching, guys. This is the first episode of Unscripted.